For years now, tuition fees have been an issue of debate. Students claim to want a simple education, however are left with a lifetime worth of debt. Is university really worth the cost? In 2010, thousands of protesters took to the streets to protest the coalition government and the Liberal Democrats for the recent changes of tuition fees. This new system states that tuition fees would rise up to £9,000 per year in order for universities to be able to accept lower income students. Estimates made at this time claim that up to 45% of these loans will never be paid off, leaving taxpayers to pick up the pieces. Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Nick Clegg, was made to give an explanation of why he broke the party tuition fee pledge.
Mr. Speaker, in April this year, the Deputy Prime Minister said that it was his aim to end university tuition fees. Can he update the House on how his plan is progressing?
Nick defended his party's policy as it was the first to allow lower income students into university due to lower fees. However, this only accounted for the bottom 25% of students. This meant that the other 75% of students would need to pay more than previous rates in order to compensate for the loss of money.
To make sure that going to university is done in a progressive way, so that for those people who are presently discouraged from going to university, bright people from poor backgrounds, discouraged by the system we inherited from her government, are able to do so. That is why our policy is more progressive than hers.
Nick's claim of a more progressive policy has caused many voters to lose confidence in the Liberal Democrats. Many believe that he never had intentions to remove the tuition fees at all. I took it upon myself to visit Queen's University in Belfast to get an inside look at what they provide and how their students feel about the cost of their education. I found that their Students' Guidance Centre had all of the facilities the student needed to develop their academic and employability skills, including a careers employability zone. The campus even included a physical education centre in order to motivate students to stay active. I spoke to Arne, a student at Queen's, and asked him what he thought of the student loans and if he believed he was getting his money's worth.
Hi, my name's Arne O'Neill. I've been at Queen's for a few years now. I do film studies. The facilities are very expensive. Everything's real high quality. The cameras and equipment that we get to use are all expensive and industry standard. There's a film studio which was recently put in, so it's quite expensive as well on the lighting rigs. And as for the courses itself, it is very informative and it does teach you a lot. So the only issue is really the amount of money it costs for all this. So you do get a lot of things with the amount of money you're paying for, with the facilities and the equipment, as well as actually learning how to use the equipment. But at the end of it, you come out with a lot of debt, which when you go to university, you're obviously looking to get a high paying job, which means you'll have to be paying this back.
I also asked Arne if he thought having a job on top of university was a solution to long-term debt.
So whilst at university, the teachers and lecturers also tell you that university takes priority over work. So the loans that you have to take out aren't just loans for tuition fees. You would also need loans in order to survive, pay for food. If you're planning on living up there, if you're planning on even living at home or you need money for anything, you will need loan. It's all just a lot of money for the 2 or 3 years will be there, and you'll come out in a very large amount of debt, which is the issue, especially when they've raised the prices over the past few years of tuition fees as well.
So what do you think? Is university really worth the cost?